Hey guys, it's Oluvids, and Kingdom Hearts Dark Road finale has finally dropped, and along with it there's also an interview, more like a Q&A with Tetsuya Nomura. And so if you want to see like my reactions to the whole general finale of Dark Road, I have it up on the channel already. It was a live stream and I have it marked with sections, so I put timestamps and all that in case you want to see specific episodes. So if you want to see that, go to that. That's a different video. For this video, we're just going to be talking about this Q&A, because before I get into talking more about the lore and the plot and all that, I want to cover this first. So this has been translated by KH13, Orpheus Joshua. He did the article here. And starting off, the first question is, in the past titles, we saw a different looking young Xehanort than the one in Destiny Islands for Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance. Is there any explanation for that? Dark Road shows the correct model. At the time of the production of Birth by Sleep, the appearance of a young man was prepared, but the appearance of a boy was not because of the budgetary constraints when it came to 3D modeling. So this is actually something that I was wondering, thinking about, because when you see that young Xehanort's, backstory in Birth by Sleep, it shows his appearance for when he is around the time skip time when he took the Mark of Mastery. And obviously from Dark Road, we see that the more chess looking appearance is when he was actually on the island. So it's kind of like, did he go back to the island or what happened? And yeah, so in canon, he does not look like that when he's on the island, when he's saying this island is just too small. He actually looks like the chess Zaynor, which is shown in Dark Road. So in case there's any little confusion about that, now we have it answered. That scene in Birth by Sleep does take place before he goes to Scala. Anyway, next question 2 is, are there going to be any further patches of Dark Road after this? And Nomura says, yes, we've identified instances where the incorrect background is shown during combat. Furthermore, we've identified where the player with Xehanort's cutscene will not display as they should during some unique circumstances. I'll apologize for all these bugs, so we'll be releasing 5.0.1 patch in the future in order to address those. And so yeah, so the game is not done in terms of fixing stuff, so if there's any glitches, that's going to be fixed, and maybe other adjustments. I doubt there's going to be any story additions, but yeah. Question 3, the why did Xander become bald reason was honestly unexpected. Nomura says, yes, it was not a matter of great importance. I just wanted to clarify that he had shaved, because I had noticed that it had been misunderstood as a common theory that he had just lost his hair. Otherwise, it's not a big problem that the Queen of Hearts did not remember Xehanort. That's just the way she is. He didn't get bald because he was just old. It seems more like he shaved his hair when he decided to start the goal of summoning Kingdom Hearts and purging the world and all that, just like his upperclassmen, his people, tried to do. Question 4. In Dark Road, several Emblem Heartless make an appearance, but we thought that they would only appear in later in the series. Nomura says the reason for their appearance in these past worlds will be explained in Missing Link. So yeah, Emblem Heartless started being made in the laboratory when Apprentice Zaynor, which is after Birth by Sleep, started experimenting and turning people into Heartless and ripping people's hearts out and all that kind of stuff. And they're appearing now in, Scala at Kylan time. And I mean, yeah, obviously those experiments haven't happened yet, so who knows what's going on. I don't know if it's going to be some sort of weird time traveling shenanigans or something. But yeah, at this point, it's not just Pure Blood Heartless, it is Emblem Heartless there as well. Missing Link is going to fill in any of the blanks in terms of these mobile games. Question 5. Who is the Blue Road figure seen in the epilogue of Dark Road? Nomura says it's the player, or to be more specific, it's the vessel where the player's heart has started its second lifetime on. Therefore, whenever someone disappears, it's not that they're entirely gone, but rather their heart has melted into another person. And so yeah, the player, we're talking about the player from Union Cross, and the end of that finale, he decided to go into a new heart, into a new person, basically reincarnated, and he ends up coming back in the new Scala, and he eventually becomes that old man and takes care of Xehanort for as long as he can until he dies. I wonder if we're going to see more of Player in Missing Link. Maybe the person we're playing as is Player's second life when he's younger, but we don't really know. All we know is that Player isn't actually Zaynor after all, but instead he's the guy with the robe and the cane. Question 6. Is Scala at Kylan in Dark Road and the one in Missing Link one and the same? Nomura. Correct. The reason why there's such a difference in atmosphere is due to the fact that Scala at Kylan is positioned as a multi-layered city, with a new city being built on top of the old one. The Scala that we see in Kingdom Hearts 3 and Dark Road is more of a white look, and it's different from the more gray looking one in Missing Link and the end of Union Cross. So I guess for whatever reason, this new one was built on top of the old one, so it's still the same place, but I guess they did some remodeling or something. We'll probably see the reason for that in Missing Link. Question 7. Xehanort's full descent into darkness wasn't fully explained, was it? Nomura. There might have been some missing spots, but I believe I managed to depict the beginning of his entrance into the path of darkness as well. And as we saw, the seeds of his ideologies started to spread from Baldur right before he did what he did. Question 8. Oh, I really like this classmate, upperclassmate. Will she be in future stories? I'm not actually sure which classmate they're talking about. There were about 2 or 3 classmates that were female, so maybe he's talking about Baldur's sister. I don't know which one, but Nomura says, regrettably, while I wish I could have further explored their character development, I was unable to do so, or else the story would get insanely extensive. Most of the characters probably will not appear in future stories, but if the opportunity arises, I'll love to depict them in other forms of media. So that's pretty nice, because the upperclassmen really haven't been around for that long. They've been gone for, episode 1, 2, and 3, they just were not there. And they only started getting introduced in, this finale section. And yeah, honestly, they had a lot of cool designs. Honestly, I just want to see some full-scaled art of them at least. Next question. Can you explain more about the Destiny So Cruel by Master Odin? Naturally, Master Odin also had a master to mentor him. Headmaster entrusted Odin with a mission, which actually ties into the identity of the blue-robed individual. Wait, that's actually kind of crazy. Hold on. Do you think that maybe Player trained Master Odin, or maybe Luciu trained Odin and told him about the player? That's actually kind of interesting. Maybe Player and Odin know each other. Maybe like back in the original Scala, they were friends or something. That's the interesting thing. Next question. Zaynor appears with a figure who we assume to be his mother. Is that Skuld? Nomura, that is incorrect. However, she is related to Skuld in some way. The next title of Missing Link will have Bloodlines as one of its main story points. So that's interesting. So as far as we're aware, at least, Skuld was, well, at least our theory right now, Skuld is Subject X and was sent over to, the time where Xehanort is an apprentice to, Ansem the Wise. But it seems like that Xehanort's mother is related to Skuld in some way. Maybe Skuld had a sister that was left in the Dandelions. Who knows? But yeah, Missing Link is going to get more into the bloodlines, which is, Ericus and Xehanort's bloodlines, most likely. Question 11. Dark Road reveals details about Xehanort's lineage and bloodline, with some mentions about the first master's bloodline. But what about Ericus? Are the two of them related by blood? Nomura says, my apologies, I cannot answer that, as it will be explained in Missing Link. Now, me personally, I think that they're not related by blood. I think that Ericus is just related to Brain. In terms of the first master's bloodline, I mean, Brain traveled to the future, so he wouldn't be as old as Ephemer when, during that time period. So Ephemer, let's say, assuming that he's like an old man by the time that Brain comes back. While for Ephemer, he'd be Xander's great-great-great-grandfather, but maybe Brain is only Ericus' grandfather because he traveled future in time, so he's not as old as him, and so he had more time to, settle down and all of that. Next question is, speaking of Missing Link, could you share any further information about that? Nomura says, we're currently in preparation of the closed beta test. Unfortunately, I'm still unable to give a more precise time to when it will happen, but there are plans to rename the Unicross social media account into Missing Link accounts, so I urge you to follow them. And the last question, question 13, interesting. Anyway, they say, lastly, will Zaynor appear in future titles? Nomura says, just because the Dark Seeker Saga is now concluded, does not necessarily mean Zaynor will never appear again in future titles. If the opportunity arises, then... and that ends off the answer. Probably going to make another video on this fully, but I don't think this necessarily means that Zaynor is going to come back to life, but there's a chance, though I'm going to choose to think that it doesn't mean that. There's other ways that Zaynor can reappear, just like Melody of Memory, where he came back as a memory, and I believe his research will still be important to finding out more about Quadratum. With this, Nomura released a new art for young Zaynor, which I'm also going to make a video on that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.